Welcome to Invitation to the Cookout, where good vibes, good conversations, and good people always got a seat at a table. It's your favorite dynamic co-host duo, led your boy TheeAlexMac. We got
DapperDom in the building. What's up, people?
hey, and we here with another one to get the cookout started today. But before we get going, we gotta handle house business. Dom, go ahead and let them know what's going on.
Y'all, I don't even know I got to tell y'all anymore. But go ahead and hit that like, share, subscribe button. Hey, also turn on them notifications, man. Each one reach one. What you tell them to do?
Tell a friend, tell a friend.
Hey, man, tell a friend to tell a friend, man. And whether you watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Apple or Spotify, hey, we appreciate you accepting our invitation to the cookout.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. In the segment Chop It Up, man, I saw you before you were leaving training.
Yeah.
Coaching, and I was going to it. And I know you run an organization to the max, and I know your kids in sports, multiple sports, and you travel for work. Your wife coaches as well. How do y'all balance taking the kids and coaching and doing all those things? Because I want to have deeper conversation later on about it takes a village. And so do you transport kids or somebody pick up your kids and take them sometime? Or how does that work?
I mean, honestly, I feel like we are the one that's doing a lot of the villaging for others, if I'm just being honest, just because we're at, the central point of everything. So, I mean, there's times when people are like, hey, we, our oldest is at a tournament this weekend, and, we want me to bring such and such, but, we've had kids stay the night before tournaments and come with us Saturday. We've had kids ride home, take kids and stuff. So, I mean, I definitely feel like we're probably the village to others at time. I feel like we probably don't tap in to our village enough from our end. I just think it's just reading some things, probably just that sense of like, hey, I can get it all done. I don't need help. I don't want to seem like I'm not a good parent or a burden to somebody else. So that's probably more like I'm probably less hesitant to ask and really just try to divide and conquer between me and the wife. And if for some reason we can't get it done, then it's like, okay, let's see what else we can maybe exhaust. What about when you're in?
Man, so my oldest, I coached his travel baseball team here for 5 years, and it was a little bit of both.
Okay.
I was more open to let him ride with other people, even if we were there. He was like, we were going to the same restaurant or something. Hey, can I go?
Okay.
But it's a little bit of both. You know what I mean? Like I remember the wife a couple times during the summer picked up the boys and took them to Top Golf. And so I think because we were around them so much, we kind of got comfortable a little bit with them picking up our kids or us picking up their kids. But before what's on the grill today, I want to talk about where the terminology of takes a village comes from, how that has changed over time and how we feel about it today. And of course, a lot of things come from the motherland. Come from the motherland.
We've learned that over film and these.
Yeah, and so a lot of the African villages, their thought process was the kid just didn't belong to the parents.
Yeah.
They belonged to the community.
Correct.
And birthed out of that was a term what scholars call other mothering or fictive kinship. What we say, like, that's my play cousin.
Yeah.
And I feel like how slavery had an impact on that was a lot of the mothers were responsible for raising and nursing and caring for their enslavers and taking care of their home. So it was left for the grandmothers and the aunties and the other slaves to help raise. So it took a community. And then you think about Jim Crow, you think about how you needed that community piece from an aspect of one, the jobs that we had were those blue collar jobs. You worked long hours. You talk about just the fear of, hey, if you went to the wrong place, For sure. You know what I mean? And so
you might not come back up.
You might not come back up. And so I think Jim Crow had a huge impact on that it takes a village. And so not only was it a cultural thing, it was more of a for survival.
Yeah, it was a necessity.
It wasn't, it was birthed out of necessity. And I think we've lost a piece of that because we don't feel that need to have that village for survival anymore. And I was, as I was thinking about this, I was even thinking about how some of these things also broke up our homes. So I was thinking about the, I think it was called like Aid to Children Act, where it was originally birthed in 1935 for either widowed or single white women. So African American women weren't entitled to that, but fast forward to 1950, 1960, Supreme Court overturned, said, hey, you know, people of color, you are entitled to almost a welfare. Yeah. That's what it was, welfare.
Yes.
But then they threw a caveat in there. To where there couldn't be a man in the home.
Yes, I've heard.
Yeah, so and not even there couldn't be a man in the home, and then also they would have like night raids. So say you were a social worker, they might just pop up at your house at night, just see was there any sign of a man, to see any shoes.
Okay.
Yeah, and
to see if you were abiding by.
Yes, and you couldn't even provide financial help
to a man from the outside.
Yeah, even if you weren't in there, you couldn't provide any financial help. And then I think about like how that impacted our community today and the stigmas of absent Black fathers and things like that. And so I wanted to get your thoughts on. Well, first of all, what was your experience growing up in the It Takes a Village? Like, did you have not only like cousins, but like friends' houses that you spent the night at?
And my experience was different than I feel like people that I met, like being born, all of us being born in Chicago, but moving away from family. So I'm 3 or 4. So that was right around when I was maybe like 3 years old. So, spending, my older siblings they're 6 and 5 years older. So they had maybe more vivid memories of being, in Chicago and seeing family and different things of that nature. But for me and my youngest sister, the baby of the family, like it was pretty much, we moved and like we were a unit. Like it was just us. And so my most vivid memories of the village really was like the church.
Okay.
Like that was our version of the village. Like that's where we spent time at, smaller, not living in a city. So it was kind of like easier to just get around to things, right? And so that was really our village. I didn't have the fortune of having cousins around and a big family to be able to just be like, hey, we gonna be at this, but you're gonna be at Big Mama's house, or you're gonna be at your cousin's house until whenever. And so I do feel like that in a way maybe protected me from some things, right? Like it was we didn't do sleepovers, right? I joke with my parents now because I remember one of the first sleepovers at the time. I had a really good friend. He was white. His name was JP. Shout out to JP and JP Bryant. And man, we were just like, we was friends. We was kicking it, and he's like, man, like you should come over to my house and hang out. I'm like, hey, we should have a sleepover. So, we get there, and from me coming until like the 6 of us were in an apartment for, I think it might have been I don't even know if it was a 3-bedroom, but it was at least probably a 2-bedroom, maybe 3-bedroom. for the 6 of us. And that was probably right until I was old enough to be 3rd grade, 4th grade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember us pulling up to JB's house, a spot called Blackberry Hills.
Okay.
It's like, dang, like this how they get down?
Yeah.
So anyway, we get to the spot and, we walk inside. I'm looking, I mean, man, they had intercoms in the crib, all of that. I'm like, my parents, they like, okay, like, man, we talk to the parents and all of that. I'm just excited to hang out or whatever and have a good time. And so we kind of like, I'm thinking they talking and kind of touring. Yeah. And so as I get older, they like, no, we was like trying to make sure everything was good and like it wasn't no crazy stuff going on. Like we really needed to get a feel from them before we just let you stay the night. Yeah. And so, I can even look back now. There were I can probably count on my hand maybe 3 friends, maybe 3 to 4 friends that I ever stayed the night at. So it wasn't just like you could go and do anything. Yeah. Like it took kind of building up that, I guess you could say, trust that my child is in safe hands. But I think for me, overwhelmingly, like the church was our primary. And then because my dad was so well known in the community from coaching and teaching, after a while, the community, they'd be like, hey, that's Mr. McGowan's son. So it's kind of like, I was always going to stick out, one way or another.
Yeah. Man, you brought up that church piece. There's so much going on in the church now today.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it was actually going on back then.
There you go. That's
just in
there you
know it.
Yes.
And so I feel like that just social media and just the information age that we live in now has exposed so much of that. And what you talked about, the church used to be the cornerstone of the community. Now there's so many churches. Do y'all have a church home here?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, for me, as we talked about this and you pitched the idea, I was really kind of like, man, like, why is it that the village is different? And I think that was one of the things I came to is I believe that what is happening now was happening then.
Yeah.
It's just our community is really rooted on, hey, what happens in this house stays in this house.
Oh, okay.
And I remember there's a Tyler Perry play where he says, well, what happens, and the character says, hey, what happens in this house can't stay in this house if it's hurting somebody. Yeah. And they're taking that hurt somewhere else. So I do think that, hearing that, right, I don't think that was ill intent. I just think that we were just so much of a discreet and secretive community to where these things weren't getting out until it's like, man, like, and why does he act that way? Why does he abuse women? Or why is he, doing these things? Or why is he in jail with this? And then you hear the story, man, like, hey, he was getting molested by his uncle. Yeah. Or he was, they were, having these things going on. And people are just like, whoa, I had no idea. So I think there was a pendulum swing. Because when people start hearing those things and hearing about other families, they're like, oh, well, I can't even trust my family anymore. So I'm going to hoard all of the responsibilities to myself because I have a fear of some of those things happening. But I think that definitely is a piece to it. And I think the part for me that I really kind of like, having grown up in a small, town area, lived in cities, this is kind of something in between, closer to the city, is just that, you have, in terms of accessibility, I feel like the larger you get, then it's harder to tap into that village, right? Because our church home is in Fayetteville. Yeah. From us, that's like 25 minutes, which is not bad. But when you're in the flow of a day, like hey, I got to get food to eat. I got to go to here. I got to practice. Might be 25 minutes another way from Fayetteville. It's hard to be integrated into the fabric of that village when things are kind of so spread out versus like you could step outside back in the day. You had, the Reverend that would be 2 houses down. Your uncle's was 2 streets over. So everything was more accessible is what I feel back then.
Yeah, felt more like tight knit.
Yes.
Because we go to Key Point, and Key Point has 3 different services.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so you can't. Come on. I bump into people on I wouldn't say weekly basis, but fairly regularly, and we get to talking about church.
What church you go to?
Yeah, they'd be like, Key Point. They'd be like, I've been going there for years.
I ain't never seen
Never seen them. And I think I love how these huge churches have given access to more people to be able to come into the church, but I felt like it was also lost that sense of just community in the church. And I know they try to have life groups where you try to build that, but it doesn't feel the same.
No, it's not an organic thing, right? It doesn't just feel like, it's like, I just felt like, to your point, and we talked about this earlier, like, man, when I was at church, there, hey, if you weren't doing something right, we was throwing rocks or something, hey, Mr. Simon was going to go and tell my parents and be like, hey, Alex out here doing such and such, or all of that different stuff. And it was just natural. So then you knew, like, okay, this is an authority figure.
Yeah, for sure.
And I need to, uphold and maintain myself in a certain way, because this is somebody that can get on to me about something the same way that my parents could. And I know that I have to listen to that person and what they are trying to say. So
now, since you let's get into that piece. Yeah. Because we're teaching our kids to have an opinion.
Yeah.
And I know as a parent, sometimes it's hard to balance that. I'm listening to what you're saying, son. I'm taking it in, but sometimes it's because I said so. And so I think that we've allowed sometime for it to get so far to where it's like there's no respect for authority. And so even from a parent perspective, I know parents like, you better not say nothing to my kid.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
And like you said, growing up, I remember if I say that at Rico's house, and me and Rico did something that we weren't supposed to do, and Miss Tucker and Mr. Tucker, whichever one of them gave us the belt, our parents weren't going to be like, you better not touch my son. I might get another whooping when I get home for being disrespectful. You went to somebody else's house.
It was acting crazy. You gonna get it real bad. You gonna get it real good.
Hey, one thing I love is that how people talk about like how respectful and some of my kids are.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with long as you don't embarrass the family. Like if you out here and you being respectful to Mr. McGowan, but then at home you might challenge me on something that, hey brother, I don't know if you should challenge me on there, but I appreciate you giving me your opinion. Long as you not speaking to the adult. But where is that fear coming from? Because I brought up whoopings. Like, I don't whoop my kids, and I know a lot of people who don't. And why are we so afraid of sending our kid with someone, knowing that we're not even disciplining kids the way we used to be disciplined?
I mean, I think for me, it comes down to 2 things, right? Like, I feel like as a community back in the day, and we can go, post-slavery, Jim Crow era, slightly out of that. I felt like we had a more aligned agenda. I felt like we had a more aligned agenda in terms of what our youth needed to be doing, how we wanted to, like, on a lot of things, on voting, right? Like we was getting out there and boycotting and marching and risking our lives on education. That was something that we were, putting at a primary front. So I feel like the Black community aligned itself on a lot of things. Now, to me, I feel like there's a difference between aligning on things and being in 100% agreement on everything.
Okay.
Now I feel like there's a lot of people that are the cool thing to say, Al, is, well, we're not all the same. We're not a monolith. Yeah. We don't all think the same. Yeah. And to me, I feel like that's a little bit harmful, because yes, in a way that is true, but I think we've seen the fragments in a lot of ways that we approach things. Yeah. You got people saying, well, I don't want to vote because I don't feel like voting has done anything for me. Yeah. I don't believe education is important. I can go and be an influencer. I can go play an NBA. I can go be a rapper. So on those same fronts where you saw that alignment back then, it's cool to be like, well, I'm not that type of black person. I'm this type of black person, and I'm proud of it, right? And I think there's power in being unique. Okay. But I think we've lost that solidarity. Okay. As a community, to be able to say like, hey, when I'm with somebody back then, and my able to tell the same story. You was acting crazy. You might have got that belt by 3 different people in this neighborhood because you knew you weren't supposed to be doing that. And when you got home, oh, I heard you was doing this, and Miss Charlene said she had to give you that belt. All right, you already know what time it is. So I do feel like, because we do have such different things, I don't know if it's a fear, but it's like, I don't know if I send my child over here if this person is going to protect my child or discipline or advise my child in the same way. Now, I think there's another piece that you add on to that. Why do we feel that way? Because we don't know our neighbors as much as we used to.
So that,
it's the surface. That's
what I was going to say, because my parents, the people that they sent me to the homes with, whether white, black, whatever they were, grew up in Camden. Yeah. Stayed in Camden. Yeah. So they knew all of their folks. Yes. I knew your mama, knew your grandma, knew your great grandma, and your aunt, your uncles. We went to school together. Yeah. And I think, of course, I grew up in Camden. I've been here for, game count now, maybe 20. Yeah. No, it's 22 years. Okay. I've been here 22 years. How many years have you been here?
Man, 9.
9 years. I think that nothing wrong with that, but us leaving our communities to go to college and then get these corporate jobs to provide a better living for our family. And then we're all transplants. Yes. In one place versus we're making it in our home, and it's not really our home.
We don't have real roots.
We don't have real roots here. And so that feeling of just feeling safe enough to send them to your house, I think we've lost that just because we don't know each other. Although we call each other brothers, it still might be like, what is my kid going to do over there? You mentioned exposure.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so since there's so much information out here, we don't know, because you see there's some 7-year-olds, they got cell phones. You know what I mean? Like, Maverick's not about to have a cell phone. So like, I don't know what this kid is exposed to.
Yeah.
And what is he going to expose my child to? Yeah. And then will my child feel safe enough to whatever he sees, come back and ask me about it so I can give him the right information? Yeah. 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 I was just telling Maverick a couple nights ago, he was talking about something and he was like, oh, I was just a little embarrassed to tell you. And I was like, probably the more embarrassed you are or shy about it, probably the more you need to come talk to mom or dad about. Yes, so we can give you the right information. So I think another thing that, although it's helped us from a generational wealth perspective, us going off and getting these great jobs, I think it's kind of broke the dynamic of it takes a village.
Yeah. No, I to me, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Right, because and I'm find the name of the book, but it pretty much talks about black affluency. Okay. And talks about what happened as we came out of Jim Crow and we were so pro education and we were going to get degrees and we were becoming lawyers and doing all these things, and the natural evolution, I don't want to say the evolution, but what ended up happening is you had a lot of people come into some things that they had never seen before. to them, they were under the realization at that time that I can live the American dream now because I went to school, I became a doctor, I can buy it, things were progressing. So I can buy a house, I can, buy the car that I've seen, the white people have, and I can really, become something, right? And so, but then I think in that we've lost that sense of community because it became more about what can I accumulate, possession and material wise, versus what can I give from what I have? What can I give with my talents, right? Because in a community, you had all of those people that say, "Hey, I'm Camden born and bred." So I didn't. Hey, it's Mr. Earl's barbershop that's been here for 60 years. He didn't cut my hair and my daddy's hair. He's best friends with my grandpa. And you got Mr. Bob's mechanic shop and all of those town institutions that were built and poured into the community. We took those resources elsewhere that didn't really need it because we went out and we said, okay, hey, I'm going to leave Camden. I'm going to leave Carbondale. I'm going to drop, in rural, wherever you're from. And then when you feel like I've gotten this, you're not going to go and say, okay, I'm going to move into the hood of X, Y, and Z. No, where you're going to the suburbs. You're going to be out in the suburbs and things are just not what it is. It doesn't have that familial and that village type feel like what we had before. And then I think in places specifically like this, because I've lived in another place like this when I was in Madison, Wisconsin, it's hard to, have that DNA. Like I almost think of the analogy of with the NIL era, like you can have a kid that go pro and have been in 3 colleges. What do you rep? What are you proud to be like, man, I want to watch this team versus like, man, you was with the Hogs.
5 years from now. Who are you rooting for? You rooting for the Hogs? Or you rooting for the Trojans? Or you rooting for the Nittany Lions?
You was at 3 teams. So I think it's that same team. It's like, man, how can I really go hard? And I think there's some things that can be accumulated, right? Hey, maybe I've lived here or there, but it's like, I tell people, they'll be like, oh, I've lived here for 20, 25 years. Okay, man, that's, at this point, that you've made it, because we've all come from somewhere. And even if we trace where our parents and grandparents came from, they came from somewhere because you had the Great Migration. So you had people leaving the South going north which
that's another thing that also strengthened other mothering and play cousins.
Yes. They called it and said, come on up to Detroit.
Yes.
It's what we got.
That's what we got. Yes.
Yeah. So I just think that those are some fundamental pieces. And I think it's because we don't know each other as intimately as we do, right? Like we talking about invitation to the cookout right
here. Yeah.
All right. How you remember what the cookout used to be? Now, how often are the cookouts happening nowadays?
You're right.
Where you got the music blasting, the dominoes getting smacked, the cards.
It's not even a holiday. We
just be like, hey, I'm throwing something on the grill. Come on, pull up. Then someone in the neighborhood walk by, be like, and you knew them. And you like, man, come on to get a plate. Man, hey, Deshaun, come on to get a plate over here. And they sit down and, drink and chill. And it was a normal thing for us to regularly have. And it hit me one day because when somebody was like talking to me and they were like, I got these different friend groups. I'm like, well, friends are the friends. And they start saying, okay, these are really friends because, hey, we've met them from church. We met them from church groups. So we kind of bond on that level. And then these are school friends. Hey, my son's in the same class with them and we become friends. And they were like, each one of them is kind of kept on the surface in which we met. So when you talking to the school friends, we talking about, oh, did you hear about what the teacher did? And we're going to have this class party. And when you get the sports friends, okay, you're only talking about when's the next game. And hey, this is how they did at the game. And all the referees did this. And it's just right here on the surface. You're not digging deep into like, man, we've been having problems with, Tristan at home. And this is what we've had to do in terms of disciplining. Because I think a lot of what it permeates those conversations is, especially nowadays, there's a fear. I don't even know if it's a fear, but there's a inability to handle conversations where there's a difference of opinion. Right? Because if I say, man, like, I had to wear him out, and then, now people are like, oh, well, you whooped him and you beat him and you shouldn't be doing this and blah, blah, blah. And then now I get offended, like, wait, who are you to tell me how to raise my child? Versus it could just be like, hey, like, I don't whoop my child. I don't put my hands on my child. This is kind of the perspective that I come from, and coming from a place to where we could just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be an argument. Yeah. It could be a conversation. We can still leave and respect each other and not get in the car and be like, man, I was talking to Dom. I can't believe that he does this.
I know people who whoop their kids, and hey, that's how you grew up.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? Like, so if you
no love lost.
Yeah, no love lost. Yeah. I'm not ridiculing you about that or anything like that. Absolutely not. Hey, you raise your kid how you raise your kid. My job is to love on them regardless, and love on you regardless, and let's build something together. So yeah, I do think people feel like today that we have to agree on everything.
On everything.
No.
Yeah.
No. Look, I like reasonable minds can differ, bro.
And I think that is healthy, right? And then again, just going back to the agenda, I do believe there needs to be some interconnectivity in terms of some things that are non-negotiable.
Okay. All right.
To where it's like, hey,
what give me one or two non-negotiables that you have though?
Give me one or two non-negotiables. To me as a black man, we need to protect black women.
Okay. All right.
We need to protect black women.
Yeah.
Your mom black?
She is.
My mom black.
Yeah.
We come from black women. So how can we not want to protect thus which we came from? So to me, it's like, hey, there's some things where you may not agree with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They out there, right now they got the whole Meg Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson thing.
It's
like, as a black man, do I have to go out of my way to denigrate her and to talk down on her?
Yeah.
Versus just saying like, hey, this is the opinion I can have, but we already have enough stereotypes about our women and how people view our women and how they've been over-sexualized and how they've been treated in the media. Why as black men do we feel the need to have open public discussions about those things? Again, I'm not saying we have to agree with her
for sure
in how she's moved or any of those things, but I'm just saying that we have enough people out there trying to shoot our black women down.
Yeah.
Why would we pour into that?
Yeah, I was having a conversation with some of my friends, and I don't agree with the whole taking to social media and talking. Even like, I feel like you're letting everybody in.
Yes, you are.
I also tell people that when you truly love somebody,
come on,
you don't know how they're going to respond. And so just because I disagree with how she's responding, I know she's probably responding from a place of hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's my just take on it. And I'm not going to go, oh, she wild, is she doing this? Hey, I think as black men, here's the flip side of that. I think we're just so used to holding emotions in and sucking it up and keep going.
That's fair.
To where it's like, she canceling her show early.
Yeah.
Whereas a man, you can be like, man, I can't mess up the bag. Like, as much as I'm hurt,
going.
Let me push through.
You got to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we don't understand because women are more emotional than us. They come, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And so it's
like, real. Yeah.
And so she's making those decisions from hurt. So I'm not going to ridicule her because I don't know how she feels. Not a woman. So all I can say is she's hurt. I can't tell people how to love. Love is, like I said, love is one of them things I tell people I can't give you no advice on that. Yeah, I can't give you no advice on that.
No.
I can look back and say, oh man, I would never did that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But then when you truly love somebody, you be like,
oh, all things are on the table.
All things are on the table.
So that's one off the top of the head for me. I feel like that needs to be part of our agenda.
Okay.
Black agenda.
Yeah.
What's one for you?
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. If you black, we gotta have that.
I don't think we do enough of pulling people with us. We talk about,
wait a minute.
Once I hit a certain status, I don't want to be connected to this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this, and not saying, because I do think sometimes we get to a certain place or responsibility that we can't be in certain places and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as, and we've talked about this before.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna hire you not just because you're black, but once you have the capabilities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I don't think we open the door enough for our people when we've gotten there. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we open the door and, hey, let me close this behind me because I don't know how many gonna come versus, hey, let me leave this open.
You opening at something there, because to me, I feel like, one, that is true.
Yeah.
That's true, and it's heavy because I feel like from our perspective, we've both seen that.
Yeah.
Personally, we've talked about it. My feelings behind that is we were taught and groomed to hate each other. Everything, and so when people say, why do they talk about race? Why do they talk about slavery? Because every time you create a new generation, a new lineage, that means there's still blood in someone's veins that comes from that. Yeah. So when you have the whole house Negro versus field Negro, what do you think that is?
Yeah.
One person is saying, oh, I'm being treated better because of the complexion of my skin. Now, we both black. Yeah. But that person is saying, oh, I'm better because I'm in here. We still slaves. Yeah. But I'm in here, I'm doing the nice stuff. And I don't have to be in the heat. And my hands don't have to get messed up by the prickly cotton. And my back doesn't have to hurt because I'm in here. So I'm better than you. Yeah. And they created another generation. Yeah. And so that was in their minds to say, we're not here to help and nurture each other. We're here to compete with each other. Yeah. We're here to compete with each other. Yeah. And that is my competition. If I have to compete with him to get that house to be inside to get that job to be inside the master's house, I'm going to do that because the master has rewarded me by bringing me inside. Yeah. Now, I think some of that reconciled briefly when we went into the Jim Crow era, because it became more of a, hey, we're all here in the South. We got to survive. So I think we did come back together briefly. Yeah. But I think that point around the black affluency, what it did is it allowed people to see their jobs and their titles as the lens in which people should view them in, their worth and their status. Yeah. And that's all good until you drive one day and you're a VP and you that nice car and you get pulled over. Yeah. And you get treated just like a thug that's on the street. Yeah. Because that's what they see. That's how they coincide, both of those images together. Yeah. So I think a lot of that comes down to there were seeds that were planted in our mind that says, you should hate your brother. Yeah. You should hate your sister. You should feel like there's one plate of food and only one of you can get it.
And we feel like there's only going to be one.
And we got to compete. And so I do feel like while that is a reason, I want us to stop letting that be an excuse. Yeah. At what point are we going to break the mold?
Yeah, because I'm with you on that. Because I remember I got a cousin and we're only a couple months apart. Like, we grew up like brothers, but it was now it didn't feel like when it came from his dad. Like, it didn't feel like, hey, you two push each other to be better. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't even play on the same teams because it was like we both were athletic and talented. We both played, shortstop or middle infield. And it was like, instead of his dad and my dad coaching together or whatever and us being on the same team, he took him somewhere else so we could compete. You know what I mean? Not be together.
Not have camaraderie.
It didn't affect his relationship, but now as I'm older and I'm seeing it, and I was like, why wouldn't he want us to play together? Yeah. Because I've started, so Maverick, 7, he has a group of friends around his same age, man. And so I've started, me and a couple other people, Prime Baseball.
Yes, sir.
And one, a lot of blacks don't play baseball.
Yeah.
So I want to introduce,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of black kids to baseball, but then I want to build that community.
Yeah.
First and foremost, because I'm not starting this to be like, oh, these fellas gonna go pro.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, one, introduce them to a sport that we're not inclined to play.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to build a brotherhood
Mm-hmm.
with them on and off the field.
Yeah.
And like you said, I don't think we do that enough.
But I think it circle backs to what you're saying right now, you pouring into your village.
Yeah.
I'm pouring into the village. So where is that disconnect with people? Is your thoughts that people have reached a certain status to where they feel like it's not important for me to do that, or I don't need to do that, or networking, which is a big word, can replace that? Or, where do you think the sense of pouring out your cup into others comes from? Is that something that is taught and learned? Is that something that people just have a passion to do? Like, where are we missing with the portion of our community
I think
that's just abandoned that?
I think it's some of all that. That, like, from my perspective, it was taught and learned.
Okay.
Like, my mom, we didn't I mean, we've talked about it in previous podcasts, like, we were middle class, a little above middle class. But I remember my mom used to feed kids in the neighborhood because, I had a neighbor who, they lived in a 2-bedroom house, 8 of them. You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to survive. So y'all come eat lunch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all, yeah, we cooking. Y'all come eat. You know what I'm saying? So I saw that firsthand. You know what I'm saying? My mom still to this day, like, my mom would just buy, like, our cousins' kids, Christmas presents, and I was like, Mom, they ain't even gonna come pick them up. And she was like, I gotta get the baby something. Like, I gotta make sure these babies have something. So I think that sense of community I got from my parents, feeling me? And I think it's our job, especially us being in Northwest Arkansas, to try to build that here, because we are all transplants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the most part, a lot of us didn't grow up up here. And so we have an obligation to do that.
One thing that came to my mind just now, and I think about the makeup of Northwest Arkansas. How much do you think the increase of interracial relationships and biracial kids has maybe affected the way that we look at raising our community? Because while there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, you're bringing in a viewpoint that was, if we go back to the periods of times we talked about, that was shunned.
Yeah.
Without having the stats today, we can tell you there was not as much interracial and biracial going on, Jim Crow, post Jim Crow, as what there is now. So you're bringing in a viewpoint and a culture that was not in our ear, in some of our kids' ear, that is more prevalent now. So how do you kind of view that?
I think it recreated the dynamic that you talked about. House Negro, field Negro. I'm not white enough to be accepted by whites.
Okay.
Not black enough to be accepted by my black people.
Dang. You just in purgatory then.
Yeah.
You ain't got nowhere to go.
And I know, a couple mixed kids, especially grew up in more white communities. They didn't know who they were. Like, they didn't feel accepted.
Yeah.
And so I do think this younger generation is more accepting. Like, I think they're more inclusive.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think they're way more inclusive than any of these previous generation, even our generation. And so I do think they're going to help. As much as we talk about them as far as the work ethic and just free spirit, and do think they're going to do exceptional work in this space of making everyone feel
Mm-hmm.
included.
Yeah.
But I do, to your original question, think that did play a part in the separation of us. Because like you said, other viewpoints, the other agendas are coming to that table. And so when we're not agreeing, it's like you got to pick a side.
Yeah, because I think there were, even when we joke, when we be like, we'll look and see somebody, jump out of airplane. We're like, man, some white people stuff. We don't do that. We ain't jumping out no airplane. So just to kind of bring it back to that, I know that there had to be things when it came to raising children to where it was like, hey, no, we ain't gonna do that over here. We are not known to do that. They may be known to do that, which is fine, but I think it also brought in maybe other viewpoints in terms of how a child is raised versus what we were kind of accustomed to, right? And I've always long talked about traditions and how I feel like our community has an affinity to hang on to some of them too long, especially ones that do not benefit us, right? And so I do feel like that's where some people said, hey, I'm not going to let my kids be around my family because my family toxic.
Yeah.
People was going and being over at families' houses, but we had uncles that was drunkards, that was alcoholics.
Yeah.
We had people that were touching children. So it's like we just defaulted to they were family and it's safe versus just people really peeling back that facade of their family and saying, my family messed up. My family got some dysfunction going on, and I maybe don't want my kids around that. And if that means I got to be burnt out or I have to sacrifice a little bit more because I don't have that built-in family, I'm willing to do that to maybe shield them from some of the things that they've seen. So, I mean, I think this is, a powerful conversation for us and one that I hope we continue to have over the years, right? Because I think it's something that continually needs to be assessed. And I think I'm a big person in terms of us putting that challenge out there and saying, okay, we've talked about there maybe not utilizing the village as much or there being less of a village. How do we recreate that?
Yeah.
In the spots that we have now, how are we doing some of the things, whether it's sports clubs or special interest clubs or different things that people can do where we can, hopefully recreate some of that village that we talked about.
Gotcha. Now, y'all already know when you come to the cookout, you're going to leave with more than food on your plate. What you want them to leave?
What I want them to leave.
What y'all stacking?
What am I stacking on the plate?
Yeah.
What I'm stacking on my plate is I want us to have more real, raw conversations about our community.
Okay.
I feel like this was one that when you approached me with it, I was like, man, like that's packed with some stuff.
There's a lot of layers.
It's probably some layers that we didn't even get into
for sure, 1,000%.
But I think it's the start of that dialogue, and hope others that we can inspire others to have a similar dialogue in terms of how do we create that village and create a village that has a foundation of support.
Yeah.
Like what we used to have, but not all the same elements, right? Because I think we need a village as well in terms of lifting us up as parents, as husbands, as daughters, not just for our children as well. So I think it's about how do we have real conversations with each other, knowing that we can leave the cookout and we all don't have to agree with each other, but it's still love. Yeah. That's what I would leave on my to-go plate.
Gotcha. On mine, I would say, I'm going to take what the Field of Dreams say. If you build it, they will come. And so that's what we're trying to do with the baseball club, because we already see, people see us and like, we played this past weekend up here. Said, hey, where y'all from? Said, we from up here, North Arkansas. He said, all these black kids on your team? And we're already getting parents asking, hey, y'all gonna do basketball? Or y'all do football? And that's the lens, we're gonna go through it with the lens of sports. But we're really trying to build a community out there. So mine is, hey, if you don't see it, build it.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I think that's beautiful. I think everything you're saying is a example of what we're trying to do as a village, using things that you're passionate about and giving back. So I definitely applaud you, one brother to another, for what you're doing in this space, because
I applaud too, Max.
we need more people. Much love. We need more people that's doing the things like that and giving back freely. And it's a lot of people that say, man, it's crazy, and I'm not gonna say it's not, but at the end of the day, I always say, man, I'm pouring into kids. I'm seeing when we're not in season, I'm seeing kids coming up to me. I had one of the high school kids, and he was asking me about some things that he was having going on with his girlfriend. It was like, hey, those are the types of things. Hey, if you go pro, great. I always joke with them and say, hey, I just need tickets to one game a year, and I'm good. But you and I know that the probability shows that most, if not any of our kids are going to do that. So how can we pour into them? And they say, man, I remember Mr. Dom. He was an influential part of my life and helping me understand how to persevere, how to be a man. I remember Coach Alex and the things that he taught me and about it being bigger than basketball. If I can leave those seeds, we talked about this in legacy episode. If I can leave those seeds behind me, I can leave this earth feeling fulfilled, man. So
hey, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully y'all have taken something from it. Hey, share it. Share this conversation. Y'all enjoyed it. Share it with your friends.
Yes, sir.
Hey, next time, we out.
Hey, we out.